Acting in The Wizard of Oz messed up all the actors physically and emotionally without sparing the dog, Toto. Some of the damage never went away, becoming disabilities, with some of the cast even passing away from the injuries. And you won't believe the numerous filming mistakes in the beloved classic The Wizard of Oz that completely wrecked the lives of the cast members. Everyone loves The Wizard of Oz because it's funny, emotional, and beautifully made, but behind the scenes, it was set up to be disastrous, so basically every actor was injured. We will begin with the least injured actor on set, Bert Lahr, who portrayed the Cowardly Lion, and the grave mistakes that caused him a painful experience. The lion's costume was made out of 2 real skinned lions, which weighed 90 pounds and were extremely hot while filming on set. To make it even worse, the bright studio lights made the actor drip with sweat by the time he removed the costume each night. However, the lion's crazy situation is not enough to prepare you for the absolute worst that became of the dog and the other actors on the set as we dig deep into the most disturbing part of the video. Another actor who wasn't spared a lifelong injury on the Wizard of Oz set is Ray Bolger, who played the Scarecrow. Ray developed lines on his face from wearing the rubber prosthetic. The mask was made of latex, and it took a full hour to peel off the rubber makeup from his face after each day of shooting. It was an absolutely chaotic method of makeup application, with adhesive tape constantly being applied to Ray's face that had to be peeled off and reapplied daily. For the entire filming of The Wizard of Oz, Ray went through over 100 rubber bags. That's also the number of times it had to be peeled off his face, which is insane. When he peeled off the mask for the last time after they wrapped shooting in March of 1939, he noticed something disturbing. There was a permanent scar and pattern around his mouth on his skin. The corners of his mouth and chin never recovered from the damage, but at least he didn't almost die, as the story turns dark from here, which will leave you devastated when you discover even the pet got lifelong damage. But that's not even the worst part for Ray, as he may have also gotten cancer from working on that set. It's widely reported that the poppy field scene when it snowed was created using asbestos, which is super cancerous. But here's where it gets complicated. Ray passed away many years later from cancer, which made people assume it came from filming with asbestos. Aside from the snow, they used asbestos in Ray's Scarecrow costume to prevent him from burning when the Wicked Witch lit him on fire. Although there's no confirmed report linking Ray's cancer to the asbestos, he was diagnosed with bladder cancer in 1986 and passed away the following year at 83. Buddy Ebsen, who played the Tin Man, might be shining in metal with his funny mannerisms, where he combined dancing and singing while making the Tin Man a fun, interesting character. Still, behind the scenes, it was a complete nightmare as the actor was dying slowly under his Tin Man costume. Buddy had to wear this metal suit for his role in the 1939 film, and they covered him in pure aluminum powder. The harsh substance they used as part of his costume caused severe lung damage that turned into lifelong respiratory problems. And, unfortunately, Buddy wasn't even supposed to be the Tin Man initially. He was going to play the Scarecrow. However, Ray Bolger, who ended up in that role, had a powerful agent named William Morris, who had stolen the role from Buddy, so Buddy got stuck with the Tin Man instead, and that costume almost ended him even before the aluminum poisoning started. His daughter, Kiki Ebsen, revealed they originally made Buddy's costume out of bulky stovepipe, the sharp metal pressed against his joints until they finally remade it with cardboard. But the aluminum dust was where things took a turn for the worse. He constantly inhaled the aluminum dust in his makeup, which was reapplied consistently. Eventually, Buddy started having severe breathing problems on set. But here's the messed up part. He was too scared to speak out because the set was already so toxic and he didn't want to lose his job. But 10 days into filming, he woke up and couldn't breathe. He genuinely thought he was going to pass away that day. They rushed him to the hospital where he spent 2 weeks. It was terrible because oxygen couldn't get into his blood, which left him with fermented blood. And when he finally got back to set, his fears soon became real as they had already fired him and replaced him with Jack Haley. The studio directors showed no concern whatsoever for what happened to Buddy. They even called him a liar who just had an allergy, which is insane. However, they somehow realized they had not only hurt Buddy's feelings, but also compromised his health with the aluminum, so they treated the new actor differently regarding the Tin Man costume. They didn't apply the aluminum directly to Jack's skin. They mixed it with paste first, then painted it on him. Jack only ended up with a treatable eye infection. infection. Meanwhile, Buddy got stuck with a respiratory disease for the rest of his life. The chaos on this set didn't stop there because even poor little Toto wasn't immune to the cursed injuries on set. At one point while filming, the Cairn Terrier named Terry was injured on set when a Winky guard accidentally stepped on her paw and broke it. It took 2 weeks for the dog to use her paw again, and in that time frame, Toto had to be replaced by another dog as a stand-in. And the only good thing about this accident is that she was able to bond with Judy Garland, who tried to adopt her, but the owner, Carl Spitz, refused to sell her. When the Wizard of Oz set couldn't physically hurt the actors, it caused psychological and emotional damage that left the actors in danger throughout their lifetime until it ended in death. And the most heartbreaking part of this story involves the child actress, Judy Garland, who played Dorothy. Dorothy was adorable and wanted to get home with her dog, Toto. But despite performing excellently in the film, Judy suffered incredibly toxic treatment behind the scenes. It was way more complicated for the teenage Judy to get through making the 1939 film than it was for Dorothy to navigate the yellow brick road. As a teenager, Judy had to endure working exceptionally long hours, which was extremely painful. But none of this mattered to the production. Instead, they encouraged using stimulants and substances to keep performers working, especially 16-year-old Judy. Whenever they finished and the cast became too tired to sleep, they'd have them take sleeping pills. By the time Judy finished filming The Wizard of Oz, she was already addicted to harsh and illegal substances. Many of these pills given to Judy by studio bosses were demanded so the young actress would remain thin and powerful enough to keep working despite the insane pressure on set. As a young girl, Judy, born Frances Ethel Gum, had no guardian looking out for her at such a vulnerable age. Her mother pushed her to start performing. Judy began performing with her sisters as early as 2.5 years old, after their mother put them in the spotlight. Sadly, her mother was the first to give her pills for energy and sleep when she wasn't even 10 years old, so it seemed normal when the studio started giving her those same substances. Judy's situation worsened when studio executives verbally attacked her for her weight. They called her fat little pig with pigtails. Then they put her on this extremely restrictive and unbalanced diet where her food intake was constantly monitored. The studio producers at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, where she was signed, gave her a list of feeding items like chicken soup, black coffee, cigarettes, and pills that she could take to reduce her appetite and maintain her weight. It was also reported that the principal director, Victor Fleming, slapped Judy while filming one scene to get her to stop giggling. Despite all this horrible treatment, Judy was paid $500 compared to her male co-stars, Ray and Jack, who each got $3,000. Sadly, the early introduction to harmful substances made Judy reliant on pills. She continued battling addiction until she lost her life to an accidental overdose in 1969 when she was only 47 years old. The emotional and physical toll on set had a devastating impact on every main character in The Wizard of Oz. Margaret Hamilton, who played the Green Witch, also suffered greatly from that green makeup. She experienced severe health issues because of the massive amounts of copper toxins in her green makeup. At one point, Margaret couldn't even eat on set. She could only consume liquid food through straws. When she did have to eat, Margaret was super careful not to inhale the makeup. The green paint was also challenging to remove, as the actress stayed green for several months after filming ended. But the green makeup was nothing compared to another huge hazard Margaret faced. She had to handle white phosphorus to stage her disappearance in that scene where she disappears in Munchkin Land, which gave her third-degree burns on her face and arms. They had to use real fire since CGI didn't exist at the time. As soon as she got those severe burns, the copper on her skin started seeping into her body, causing even more burns. They had to pour alcohol on her open wound to clean the green makeup before it caused additional damage. Margaret's body double, Betty Danko, also went through irreparable damage after using a broom attached to a smoking pipe. Margaret was supposed to perform this stunt, but declined after her recent accident. On Betty's third rehearsal, the pipe exploded and blew her off the broomstick. Her legs got permanently scarred after spending 11 days in the hospital, and the craziest thing is that the costume department only cared about finding the hat after Betty got injured. Beyond the major characters who encountered these terrible issues, the minor cast members experienced the same treatment. The actors who played the flying monkeys got injured when the piano wires they were suspended from broke during filming.